Have you ever felt something strange deep inside you, even when you were just a child? Like there was a quiet voice trying to talk to you, but you couldn't explain it? Maybe you were the kid who looked normal on the outside but always felt different on the inside. Maybe you cried without knowing why. Or maybe you felt heavy, uncomfortable, or scared in some places for no clear reason. And deep down you kept thinking, what is wrong with me? But what if nothing was wrong? What if that strange feeling wasn't a flaw, but a sign? If you are watching this right now, it's obvious you are looking for answers. Don't skip this video, watch to the end and you will get your answers. So, let's dive into 6 signs you were chosen from childhood, but before that, click the subscribe button to follow us for more contents like this. Number 6. You have always felt different. Most people don't know this, but heaven doesn't always speak with loud sounds or visions. Sometimes it leaves quiet clues. Not on your skin, but in your heart. These marks don't leave bruises. They shape your soul. And for some of us, these clues start showing very early, so early that even we don't know what to do with them. When you were young, the world already felt loud, confusing, and too much sometimes. While the other kids played and laughed, you noticed things no one else did. Silence made you uneasy. Certain rooms or people made your chest feel tight. You didn't know how to say it, but something always felt off. It wasn't just shyness or mood swings. It was your spirit reacting to what your eyes couldn't yet see. You weren't broken. You weren't being dramatic. You were sensitive, and that sensitivity wasn't a curse. It was a gift. A spiritual gift that didn't have a name yet. Your spirit had already started listening to God, long before your mind could understand what was going on. You were never ordinary. You just didn't know why you felt so different. Maybe no one ever explained it. Maybe you grew up hearing words like too soft, too quiet, too weird, or too much. And maybe you started to believe something was wrong with you. But now you're starting to see the truth. You were marked for something more. Your childhood wasn't just childhood, it was training. Every rejection, every tear, every lonely moment was preparing you for something heaven had already decided for you. It wasn't a punishment, it was part of your purpose. Some people believe that a spiritual calling only begins when someone becomes a pastor, a prophet, or starts preaching. But that's not true for everyone. For the truly chosen ones, the calling starts before they even enter the world. It begins with a soul that sees too much, feels too deeply, and cries for things they can't explain. If your heart got broken too easily, if you felt rejected without doing anything wrong, if you picked up on people's emotions like a sponge, then hear this: heaven was already whispering to you, not with words, but with signs. You didn't arrive on this earth by accident. Your soul came carrying something bigger. That constant feeling of not fitting in, that wasn't in your head. It was a message. You don't belong to the ordinary. You've always been set apart. Your roots are spiritual. Your pain had purpose. Your tears had meaning. And every time you felt something no one else did, it was proof that heaven had already put something special inside you. And now your soul is starting to remember. That's why you're here watching this, feeling something stir again. It's time to open your eyes and finally understand what all those strange feelings meant. This isn't random. You've been drawn to this message for a reason. Stay tuned because the next sign will blow your mind. Number 5. Your growing up felt strange. From the very beginning, even in the crib, you were different. Some babies cry when they want a toy. Others cry because they feel something they can't name. If you were the second type, people probably called you dramatic, or spoiled, or too much. But it wasn't just emotion. It was your spirit reacting to invisible things. You walked into places that felt wrong and wanted to leave without knowing why. You sensed lies even when no one said a word. You felt sadness in people who smiled. You could walk into a room and know when the energy shifted. This wasn't your imagination. This was spiritual sensitivity. Heaven had already opened a channel in you, and it started working even when you didn't understand it. And yet, you didn't ask to be this way. You didn't choose it. You were born with it. You were made with a spiritual antenna that picks up signals the world doesn't see. And that's what made you different. Not weak, not broken, just different. You were already connected to something eternal, long before you could explain what it was. While others were busy chasing fun, you were thinking deep thoughts. Thoughts that didn't match your age. Thoughts about life, about God, about meaning. You didn't just grow. You were being prepared. Samuel in the Bible was like that. Even as a boy, he heard a voice calling him at night. He ran to Eli thinking it was a person, but it was God. Samuel didn't get it at first. He was confused, just like you were. But heaven already knew his name, already had a plan, just like it has for you. Number 4, people called you weird. Imagine feeling someone else's pain like it's your own, or waking up tired in your heart before you even know why. That's how many chosen souls start life, sensing things others miss, feeling too much without a name for it. It's not crazy. It's a sign that your spirit is alive long before your mind catches up. It's God waking up early those he plans to use. Maybe people told you, you're too sensitive, or, why do you feel everything so deeply? You might have thought you were the problem. But in truth, that deep feeling was a hidden training ground. God was teaching you to tune into the unseen, to strengthen you inside before the world could see your gift. This wasn't just about emotions. It was spiritual sight. You noticed the silent words behind a smile. You felt the tension in a quiet room. You knew when something was wrong even if everyone insisted they were fine. That was your spirit's antenna picking up signals from beyond. Since no one taught you this, you probably tried to shut it off. You pushed down discomfort, pretended not to feel. But the more you ignored it, the stronger it got. You weren't built to live numb. Those feelings were your compass, not your curse. Your tears, your solitude, your moments of unexplained joy, all were markers on your path. God doesn't waste early years. He plants seeds of purpose in the soil of your heart. That extra weight you carried as a child? It was preparation. When you cried for reasons you couldn't name, your spirit was sensing something real. When you hid away in silence, you were being readied. You were learning your calling before you even knew you had one. A chosen childhood is measured not just by events, but by inner nudges pointing to heaven. Now, as you look back, you see it wasn't odd, it was spiritual. That ache, that knowing, that restless energy, they were signposts, not flaws. You're not broken. You're awakening. If these thoughts feel familiar, it's because you're hearing the same quiet voice Samuel heard, a call even before he knew who was calling. You longed to fit in and you tried so hard to blend. Yet you kept standing out. That sting of rejection? It had a reason. Your brightness can unsettle places filled with empty noise. Maybe you got labeled intense or strange, and you believed it. But it wasn't your light that was wrong, it was the world trying to dim someone made to shine differently. Joseph had dreams from God. When he shared them with his brothers, they did not cheer him on. They pushed him away. It wasn't because they hated him. It was because his future greatness made them feel small. The same thing happens to chosen people today. You weren't rejected because you were weak. You were pushed away because you carried something stronger, something you didn't yet see, but that pointed to who you would become. The enemy saw your gift before you did. He used rejection as a weapon. Being left out made you doubt yourself. Am I enough? Am I loved? Does anyone get me? Those doubts didn't come from who you are. They came from the spiritual battle around your calling. Some people avoided you. Others laughed at you. Even when you tried to fit in, it kept happening. It wasn't your fault. It was your essence, Your purity, your care, your light, your passion. You shone too brightly for places that stay on the surface. But God turns even rejection into a tool. When you were alone, that was where He taught you to hear only His voice. Rejection didn't break you, kept you safe. If everyone had accepted you, you might have changed to match the crowd. God let you be set apart so you'd stay pure for His purpose. That's why chosen ones often feel lonely. But that loneliness is not God being far away. It's spiritual separation. You were never made to blend in. You were made to change the world. Real change begins in quiet. The scars of rejection may still hurt, but now you know they show who you truly are. You are not less. You are different, a difference sent by God. What they meant for harm, God will turn into good. Just as what happened to Joseph led him straight to his promise, your rejection will lead you to your destiny. What tried to stop you will become the very thing God uses for your good. You don't have to keep trying to fit in where your spirit was never meant to stay. Your job isn't to make everyone happy, it's to follow the one who set you apart. Now that you've this, you can stop chasing acceptance and start shining freely. Have you ever wondered why you faced hidden struggles? The next sign will tell you why. Number 3, you faced hidden struggles. Some people discover pain later in life, but you felt it too soon. Before you even understood much, life's troubles were on your shoulders. While other kids felt light, you were fighting to survive inside. It wasn't fair that a child had to be so strong. But your hardship was not punishment, it was practice. This training began before you even knew it. The chosen ones almost always face hidden struggles early. They fight battles others meet only as adults. There's a reason for this. God doesn't shape warriors where it's easy. He forges them where no one is watching. Look at Moses. As an infant, he was placed in a basket on the Nile, then raised in a palace far from home. He had to discover who he was amid danger. That wasn't random, it was God preparing a leader behind the scenes. Your challenges were the same. They taught you to feel what most people never sense. They gave you kindness, understanding, depth. They showed you how much God's presence can matter when it's all you have. While kids your age worried about play, you handled emptiness, rejection, and fear. Still, you stood firm, falling sometimes but always rising. Those called carry a strength you can't explain. Maybe you wondered if God forgot you. He didn't. He was there in your silent tears. Like a loving father, He used your pain to teach you trust, especially when you saw no way out. That's when your faith was born. This early trial showed you truths no one else could teach. How to read hearts, sense hidden hurts, and comfort people older than you. That isn't common. It's proof that God moved on your behalf before you knew it. You weren't weak for crying, you were brave for continuing. You weren't forgotten, you were chosen. You weren't punished, you were prepared. Every struggle meant to break you instead moved you closer to your purpose. You're waking up to see how it all makes sense. Nothing you faced was pointless. Even when you felt left behind, heaven was working quietly on you. The greatest callings grow in quiet and challenge. What once hurt you now helps you. What once broke you now gives you strength. All the things you endured alone now let you speak with true power. Your pain taught you to bring healing through kindness. If you have stayed to this point, it's obvious something has begun happening to you. Don't miss number 1. Number 2, you don't fit in no matter what. Since childhood you tried to fit in. You changed your voice, your actions, even your feelings. Still, you never quite matched the crowd. You felt too much, too bold, too deep, too real. That made you question yourself. What others called a flaw was actually a sign, not something to fix but a space being made for your protection. Heaven was shaping someone who couldn't settle for normal. Your purpose is to shake what's stuck. Most people want things smooth, calm, fair. But the chosen don't live that way. You carry a spark, a spiritual force, a presence that shifts everything around you. And people who change things often make others uneasy at first. You were the one asking tough questions, seeing beyond the surface, bothered by shallow talk. That's why you were left out, judged, or ignored. Now you see that discomfort was your spirit refusing to settle for shallow life. John the Baptist shows us this. He lived alone in the desert, acted in ways people didn't understand. Yet he prepared the way for the Lord simply by being different. Your time alone wasn't random. God let you feel out of place not to punish you but to keep your heart pure. If you had fit in too easily, you might have lost yourself in the wrong places. That sense of not belonging kept you safe. It held your true self intact, untouched by empty appearances. What seemed like rejection was really protection. The chosen often don't fit in because they're not meant to blend, they're meant to break through. Breaking through takes bravery, being different, staying true even when it makes others uncomfortable. Your mismatch caused you pain, but it also opened your eyes. You learned to spot what's false and see what's real. That gift can hurt, but it also brings deep healing. Now you know your struggles were all part of the plan. Every lonely hour and every hard moment prepared you to carry authority and compassion. You were trained in silence, but not by mistake. Today, your wounds are your tools, your scars are your medals, and your voice carries the power to transform lives, just as heaven always meant it to. Do not blame yourself any longer for standing out. Don't try to lower your brightness just so others feel safe. You were never meant to hide. You were meant to shine even if no one else gets it. God did not set you apart because you are better than anyone. He set you apart because you carry something special that must stay safe until the right moment, and that moment is coming. Someday your uniqueness will make perfect sense when your purpose becomes clear. Right now you see that feeling different was not a mistake. It was a signal that your spirit was kept safe, that your true self was real, and that heaven was shaping you for something far bigger than you can imagine. The hurt of being different will turn into the honor of following God's plan. Everything that once pushed you out will become your badge of power, because those who refuse to fit the mold are the ones chosen to change it. Number 1, you are very compassionate. You have always felt more deeply than others. You cried for reasons no one saw. You felt pain when others suffered. You carried their burdens in your own heart. From the time you were very young, your feelings were too big for your small body. This was not an accident. It was spiritual empathy. It was the quiet birth of your calling. While other children went through life without a care, you already held a sorrow that was not your own. You felt the air grow heavy, noticed the sadness of people around you, and wanted to fix fights that weren't yours to solve. This deep feeling was heaven's mark on you, the sign of someone born to heal with compassion. Even Jesus showed this gift at 12 years old. He spoke with teachers in the temple, surprising everyone with his wisdom. But more than words, it was his heart that stood out. As a child, he was focused on his Father's work, and that focus showed itself in kindness. Many people labeled you too sensitive. They told you to toughen up, to stop being moved by every little thing. But they could not see that your sensitivity is the very thing that makes you fit for your mission. Those who feel deeply are the ones who heal deeply. You were never meant to ignore the pain of others. You were made to carry it, to pray for it, and to comfort it. Your tears are not a sign of weakness. They are prayers. Many times, before you even knew how to speak to God, your tears were already lifting your heart in the spiritual realm. Yes, it can be tiring to feel so much. Carrying so many emotions can leave you exhausted. But God did not make you like this by accident. Your heart was crafted to grasp what most people miss. The hurt behind a smile, the silent plea behind a face, the unspoken cries no one hears. This gift is rare and precious. In a world that can feel cold and uncaring, God raises up people like you to bring warmth and hope to broken souls. So never fight against your own heart. This caring spirit is a powerful tool in God's hands. You do not feel so deeply for no reason. You feel because you were called to respond. Those who carry this gift will always have the power to heal, to comfort, and to bring light where there is darkness. Your special heart is not a burden, it is your greatest blessing. In a world grown cold, God raises up hearts like yours to bring warmth to broken spirits. So never try to harden what was made to love. Your tender heart is a powerful tool in God's hands. You don't feel deeply for no reason. You feel because you were born to respond and to heal in a way others cannot. Every mark life has left on you isn't a sign of failure but proof that you survived. Each scar, seen or unseen, holds a story. You faced trials that could have destroyed you, yet here you stand, stronger for having endured. Maybe no one else sees the weight you carried in silence. Not even your closest friends know how many tears you shed, how many unspoken prayers you sent heavenward, or how many times you thought, "I can't go on," and then went on anyway. That is real strength and real authority. Your scars aren't shameful. They remind you, and everyone who hears your story, that the enemy tried to break you but failed. You walked through fire, heartbreak, and rejection, yet you kept believing. That faith born of pain has become your greatest witness. Look at Paul. He was beaten, jailed, stoned, and still he spoke with conviction because he knew suffering firsthand. In the same way, your own experiences give weight to your words. Heaven doesn't just use what you learn, it uses what you overcome. Your wounds have become bridges, your falls have become roads to guide others. What once embarrassed or frightened you will now shine as a testament to God's power to lift you up when no one else would. Your life matters. It's filled with hardship, yes, but it's also filled with triumphant comebacks. Each time you chose to keep going, even without knowing why, you added another chapter to your sacred story. That is rare. That is precious. That is the mark of someone forged in the fires of struggle. Today your scars are your spiritual resume. I was there. I faced it. I overcame. When you speak, people feel the truth because your words are backed by real life. Even when everything looked fine on the outside, you felt an emptiness inside that nothing could fill. You could smile among friends and still feel lonely. That inner void wasn't a lack, it was your calling. It was heaven reminding you of where you came from and what you were made for. Others chase fleeting pleasures, but you always sought something deeper. Not ambition, but a thirst for meaning, truth, and eternity. That restlessness drew you into God's presence, and the same holds true for you. That struggle you tried to ignore was actually spiritual sensitivity, your soul seeking its true home and purpose. No matter how much you tried to silence it, your calling never died. It may have been muffled, but it was never gone. When the chosen heart finally awakens, that emptiness stops being pain and becomes direction. It pushes you toward the center of God's will. Now you understand that what you were missing wasn't a thing, it was someone, the Father waiting for you to activate the gift He placed in you before you were born. That emptiness was the space reserved for your purpose. Now you know you weren't too sensitive or out of place by mistake. You were chosen from the womb, and your childhood struggles were not punishments, but preparation. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the subscribe button and follow us for more content like this.